Hey guys, this is Miss Mav. I promised you I would record this video on these poems, so I'm finally getting to it. And I'm going to start with Walt Whitman's Song of Myself, because I think that is one that we're having the most difficulty on. So let's just talk about some notes before we get into the actual poem. All right, so using the quizzes that are provided for you on Ingenuity, I tried to base my notes off of those questions. So these are just some things that you may want to keep note of, keep handy, or keep out while you take the quizzes. That's perfectly cool with me. This section was pretty difficult. So the first thing you need to know about Song of Myself was that it is a free verse poem, meaning there is no particular structure, right? Some lines are longer than others. There's no particular rhyme scheme. There really isn't a formal structure within the poem, right? And why does Whitman do this? It allows him to vary his length of lines and can choose whether or not to use rhyme. It also shows that he has almost certain powers and liberties as a poet to do this. It's almost like he's exerting his power as a writer by not following a particular structure. The length of lines, the long lines, particularly show us as readers that he has taken certain liberties in his poem. And what I mean by that is, again, I'm going to reiterate, he's just saying to us, look, I don't have to follow a structure because I'm that good, right? It shows his confidence in his writing by not following a structure. Now going to the third bullet, the free verse for poets allow them to expand their ideas without worrying about a particular structure. For the fourth bullet, we could describe Whitman's style as relaxed, candid, almost like he's having a conversation with us, but he's very straightforward and honest. He speaks directly to the reader to make sure there's no room for misinterpretation. He wants us to understand exactly what he's trying to say. The theme, the fifth bullet here, Whitman approaches the theme of Song of Myself from several angles. He speaks to the reader through different examples to convey the idea that there is room for many experiences, and this is important here, okay? That there is room for many experiences as well as many selves within the one self. In other words, there are multiple experiences that impact who we are, as well as multiple sides to who we are, okay? Other things about the poem, another thing about the poem is that the human spirit is capable of anything and everything. Meaning there is no stopping us, right? We are capable of doing anything and everything that we want. So this poem is considered the most influential poem in the history of America. The original version of this poem was 70 pages and 52 sections, and we're only going to look at 3. The poem takes the reader on an epic journey through different settings, time periods, viewpoints, and personas. And the poem was meant to explore ideas of spirituality, democracy, nature, and identity. And he did this through preaching self-knowledge, liberty, and acceptance for all. Okay? Those are just some ideas if you wanted to write them down. If you had this out, I'd find it helpful if you printed the poem out and you could take notes while we're going over things. All right? What else am I thinking of? I think that's it. All right, so let's get into part 1. So I'm going to read the poem on the left side of my chart. Remember, this information is already up on my website, so you just need to go over there and print it out and get it, and it's right there for you. And then I'll go over my notes, okay? Part 1. I celebrate myself and sing myself, and what I assume, you shall assume. For every atom belonging to me as good belongs to you. I loaf and invite my soul. I lean and loaf at my ease, observing a spear of summer grass. My tongue, every atom of my blood, formed from this soil, this air. Born here of parents, born here from parents the same, the parents are same. I now, 37 years old, in perfect health begin, hoping to cease not till death. Creeds and schools and abeyance, retiring back, a while sufficed at what they are, but never forgotten. I harbor for good or bad, permit to speak at every hazard, nature, without checking with original energy. All right, so let's go back up here. So the first thing, let's talk about, I celebrate myself and I sing myself, and what I assume, you shall assume. So, going over here to the note section. Whitman states that what he's going to do in the poem, celebrate himself, right? The whole title of the poem is Song of Myself, so he's literally celebrating who he is. This practice might seem a little arrogant, but we're just going to go with it. But it actually means that he's not just celebrating him, he's celebrating all of humanity. So now you have to kind of open your mind a little bit here. He lays out some of his ground rules. We're going to believe whatever he believes. At another level, we're going to take on whatever roles or personalities a speaker takes on, right? This is the definition of assume. For what I assume, you shall assume. Okay, so for the purpose of this poem, right, we're going to take on whatever roles or personalities he assumes. At the end here, he says, for every atom belonging to me as good belongs to you. So what he does is he offers up the atoms of his own body as our own, meaning he's physically willing to share his own body with us. And he uses this word atom, okay, to kind of get our attention and tell the readers, hey, I'm serious about what I'm saying. I really truly mean what I'm writing down here, okay? For the most part, Whitman's tone is relaxed, almost friendly in this poem. But the word atom changes the tone as it is a word more associated with science, which is meant to be taken more seriously. Again, looking at that line, for every atom belonging to me as good belongs to you, tells the reader that everything I have is yours and vice versa, okay? Everything that I have or I am that is within me belongs to you. I'm willing to share with you, and you need to do the same for me. But in a more worldly view, we have to look at it. He's also talking about it being applied to the universe, as in everything I have is the world's, and everything that is the world's is mine. And I don't want you to think of a materialistic perspective. I want you to think of more of a spiritual perspective. I loaf and invite my soul. I lean and loaf at my ease, observing a spear of summer grass. So he introduces another character, his soul, in the poem. He separates his physical body from his spiritual body. All right? And really, Whitman's just hanging out with the soul and looking at a blade of summer grass. And basically, that's what he's doing here. Whitman claims, in the next stanza, my tongue, every atom of my blood formed from this soil, this air. So Whitman claims that everything he is has come from the soil. His parents, his grandparents were born the same. So basically, the earth has provided everything for him, right? So everything that he can, he's thanking Mother Nature for. And the last part here of the first section, creeds in school and abidance retiring back a while sufficed by what they are but never forgotten. So Whitman tells the reader to retire what we learned in school, meaning to keep it on the back burner. He's not going to talk to us about academia or things that we learned from a book. He wants us to suspend our formal learning and kind of keep an open mind, right, which is kind of difficult. I harbor for good or bad, I permit to speak at every hazard, nature without check with original energy. So again, he's trying to tell us we need to find ourselves. We need to find ourselves in what he considers original energy, or what we know to be nature. Okay? Take a minute to go over what I just said in your notes. Write down any questions you have, and then we'll move on. Part 46. I'm going to go.